Hi, and welcome to the potential 2012 Second Amendment rally here in Westchester County, New York. Before I begin with the rally, I'd like to mention that most of you probably know that live in Westchester, there is currently a lawsuit against licensing officers here in Westchester County. And the lawsuit is by the Second Amendment Foundation, and the plaintiffs are the Second Amendment Foundation, Krakowski, Nikolov, and it's against Judges Susan Casey and Judges Jeffrey Cohen, to no surprise, and the rest of the Westchester County licensing officers. I have my fingers crossed that they're going to be successful, but Westchester County is not going to just give up and throw the towel in. So in the event that things do not work out, I would like to strongly suggest we have a Second Amendment rally here in Westchester County for 2012 around the 4th of July sometime. All with like permits and everything from the county, White Plains, and whomever else we may need the permits from. As you know, for decades, residents of Westchester County have been oppressed when it comes to the Second Amendment. They have always looked at the Second Amendment as a privilege versus a right, and we all know that they got it all backwards. That the Second Amendment is a right and not a privilege like they would like to think that it is. And the Second Amendment, as we all know, reads, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." You know, it's not like there's no ambiguity here. It's all in black and white. You know, the right of the people. It doesn't say the right of the Navy, the right of the Army. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There is no ambiguity. We all know this. It's clear as day. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. You know, it doesn't say the military, doesn't say the Army, once again, it doesn't say the Navy, it says a militia, and collectively it's us, you know. But in any case, I'd like to bring up, like, as an example of the oppression we've been forced to endure here in Westchester County. I want to, you know, compare two cases. One, in both cases were heard before Judge Susan Casey. One of them involved an individual named Braveheart, and he was facing potential harassment charge that involved nude photos from a secretary that worked for the Sheriff's Department. And everyone knows, had she not worked for the Sheriff's Department, nothing would have ever happened. And this I can go into detail if you like. Private message me, and private message me if you're interested, and we could take it from there. That's all I can say. And Judge Susan Casey had his permit revoked, you know, before the outcome of the criminal charge. And even after the criminal charge, you know, there was a motion filed to re-argue, which she denied. And basically, she revoked the permit on the premises that Braveheart lacked the proper character and judgment to possess a pistol permit in the county of Westchester. Then, going through land records, the same judge, once again, Susan Casey, had before her an individual who was arrested, and he had his handgun on him at the arrest, according to the papers. And he also had illegal narcotic drugs on him, and he was convicted of illegal drug narcotics possession. And yet, Judge Susan Casey did not revoke his permit. She deemed that it was a one-time incident, blah, 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 blah. I mean, what does that say about people who use illegal drugs? If you do illegal drugs, you have the proper character and judgment to possess a pistol permit, but yet if you get arrested for an alleged harassment charge, even though it's dismissed, you don't have the proper character and judgment? This all stems from their ability through broad discretion, because they have broad discretion on who and who cannot have a pistol permit in this county, That's how they get away with it. And you cannot win in the Court of Appeals because the judges won't go against another judge. And Braveheart does not have any kind of criminal record whatsoever, does not have any mental history whatsoever, and has never been arrested or convicted of any domestic violence charges whatsoever, period. Yet he had his permit revoked, all because they have arbitrary discretion. This arbitrary discretion clause must be stripped from the books. It's nothing but a dagger that's stuck deep inside the heart of the Second Amendment. It's just an abomination, this broad discretion that they have. They should never have broad discretion on who should have a permit and who should not have a permit. You know, Putnam County used to be like the same way pretty much as Westchester County. They could pick and choose just by their looks who should have a permit and who shouldn't have a permit. But now, you know, they've spoken up over there, and the rep got highly involved in this matter. And Putnam County is basically a shall issue, you know, county where basically, provided you don't have any felony convictions and things like that, they have to give you a full carry, or they are giving out full carries. Orange County is the same way. They used to be very restrictive, but now, you know, if you have a permit and you want the restrictions removed, it's not that difficult to do. And Dutchess County, you know, has always pretty much, as far as I know, been like a shall issue county where, you know, when you apply for a permit, they don't give you a restricted permit, they give you a non-restricted permit. You know, they would like for you to believe once again that it's a privilege, like, you know, like a driving license to have. You know, you have an inalienable right given to you by God to protect your family and yourself, and it's not given. That right is not given by a judge or a Department of Public Safety officer. It's given to you by God. Okay, and the rally, like I said, I like to have it, you know, hopefully the Second Amendment Foundation comes through, but if they don't, you know, I like to have the rally sometime 2012 around the 4th of July, and I would highly recommend you let a friend of yours know and just pass the word around. You know, if one person lets another person know, and it has that whole domino effect and it spreads out, and I think that would be a very good idea. No one has ever done it here. I don't know why. It was mentioned in various organizations, and they all scoffed at the idea. I mean, there's strength in numbers, as we all know. If we all sit and hope and pray that things will change, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. And, you know, when these reps are up for re-election, you have to drill them on what their beliefs are on the Second Amendment. You know, like Elena Kagan and Sotomayor. Both of them, you know, said, oh, it was an inalienable right, the Second Amendment, da-da-da-da. It applied to an individual basis, and it was an integral part of the U.S. Constitution. And then as soon as they got on the bench, lo and behold, that they voted the Heller decision down, and they voted the McDonald decision down. They all of a sudden they changed their minds, and they said, well, it's not a right, da 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 da. It applies to, like, you know, the militia being like the military, and that it doesn't apply to an individual. It has nothing to do with an individual. If that had been you or I that said that, you know, publicly, we'd be arrested if it was one of us. It's endless. If you go to the Westchester County land records, don't go to the Department of Public Safety, because they'll bounce you around like a ping pong ball, telling you have to FOIA this and you have to FOIA that, and they'll have you bouncing around, and they'll be laughing the whole way through. All you have to do is go. If you go to the Department of Public Safety, before you get there, it's the room right before the Department of Public Safety on the right, and just ask the clerk there. They're very, very helpful. They'll bend over backwards to help you out, and you could look up anything that you want. It's all there. I've been there, and I could spend days, weeks, months going over applications, and it's just, it'll have you heaving. That's all I could say. It's unbelievable what they get away with. I mean, it's almost a joke. You would think it was a joke. And these judges are put in a position to protect our rights. They are there to enforce the Constitution and make sure our rights are not violated. Instead, what do? They think it's some kind of joke. They don't recognize the Second Amendment. They recognize the First. They're like the ACLU. The First, the Third, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Second doesn't exist. But collectively, our voices can be heard. I mean, if we have enough people and we pull this thing through and we march through the streets of White Plains, you know, we'll get media coverage and it will make a difference. And I always, you know, recommend to people to support the NRA, the Second Amendment Foundation, the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association in any way you can, whether it's through donating time or donating money. Every little bit helps. You know, if no one got involved, if it wasn't for these organizations, we would not have any gun rights here whatsoever. We'd be another England, we'd be another Australia, and it's a constant battle. It's a constant battle. With this current administration, they want to gut the Second Amendment right out and take away all our guns. You have to open up your eyes and see what's going on. You have to get involved. That's all I could say. You know, read the paper, watch the news, watch the right news programs, because not all news organizations are the same. And because it's not something that we have right now, like, you know, in the rest of the country, and it could be taken away in the blink of an eye if you're not on top of it. And you know, let's get this thing done. Please private message me. I like to have some feedback on this. You know, I'm open to suggestions, anything we can do to, you know, expedite this, or if we see like a better way of doing this, by all means, you know, let's talk about it. And we could also get a petition going, get a whole bunch of signatures. There's something like 48,000 pistol permit holders, but I think that's in 3 counties. I think that's Westchester, Putnam, and Rockland. But there's quite a few pistol permit holders in the county of Westchester, and if we get, you know, this petition going, that's also a huge help. But anything we could do is better than nothing, you know. And like I said, collectively, our voices will make a difference. There is strength in numbers. That saying has always been true and will always be true. You know, there is strength in numbers, and we put these people into office. We could take them out of office. You know, the rest of the country is not like New York State. The rest, you know, probably 45 states pretty much recognize the Second Amendment as a right and not a privilege. And it's a totally different world. Over here, you know, they give you a permit for target shooting, and it's like, oh, they're doing you like a favor. You know, they're giving you a permit to go target shooting where you can carry it concealed on your person's loaded. So that's what I've been told by the Department of Public Safety, that you can, with the target shooting permit, carry your firearm loaded on your persons to and from the range. Big deal. Well, how are you going to protect yourself the rest of the times that you're out in the world? You know, the police have all the faith and confidence in police and law enforcement and the judicial system. However, as good as the police are, they can't be everywhere all the time. I mean, there are going to be times when we have to rely on ourselves to defend ourselves. You know, as good as they are, I have all the respect for the law enforcement people, and they're terrific, but they can't be everywhere. And the judicial system doesn't see that. They don't see that. They just see they just want to go along with the flow. They don't want to cause any waves. You know, they got their nice cushy jobs. They're set for life, and they're not going to go against the flow because they want they have nice cushy jobs. So why are they going to go against the flow and cause a ripple? Very few judges will go against the flow. God bless the NRA, the Second Amendment Foundation, and everyone that's and God bless America and everyone that's pro-gun and that's putting up a fight for this reason. You know, when I think about what we've been forced to endure all these decades, it's just mind-boggling, because I've seen the rest of the country and how they are, and it's a totally different world. It's a shame. God bless, and keep in touch.